home. They don't go by your take home, which makes me so mad because I was like, bro, why are they going based off of the gross? Baby, I'm not even taking that home. That's not even a take home. That this is my first ever YouTube video in my first apartment. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, hi, I'm Shakia Simmons. If you're not new, what's up, gang? I appreciate you guys for coming back, y'all. Title, y'all, today's video was requested by shout out to you. Okay, I do want to apologize for not been posting. For a lot of y'all may know that I was in the shelter, so it was kind of like hard to like film and stuff, and plus I didn't know what type of content to do while I was in there. So and plus it was like really rough trying to deal with certain things at the same time. But as you see the title, y'all, this is gonna be like, basically I'm gonna be sharing with you guys the entire shelter like process and journey and everything. I did write this down. If you want to be up to date and everything with my shelter process, I'm gonna be explaining to y'all a little bit of my personal preference of like what I've been through. So if you want to be caught up with all those videos, I do have a few videos of like, you know, me having a rant and things like that. I did have a few videos posted from when I was in the shelter, so I was in the iCards. Make sure you guys go check those videos out if you want to go like get, you know, more filmed. And don't worry, I do have the empty apartment tour coming really soon, y'all. Just please bear with me. I am filming a moving vlog. It is taking longer than expected to like film because I'm trying to get everything like together. Like step number one, for a lot of y'all may not know, I did probably do like a little series like this on TikTok. So if you haven't checked out my TikTok, make sure you guys go follow me as well. Okay, so for the first thing is to pack light and make sure that is a decision that you decided to do. You know what I mean? The reason why I say that is because moving to the shelter isn't easy. It's easy to move in there, but it's so hard to get out of there. The reason why is because it could be different scenarios because everybody's situation is different in the shelter. So please don't compare yourself to somebody else in the shelter. You know what I mean? Because you don't know if that person's working. You don't know if that person has pay stubs or whatever their situation is. Like I said, don't compare yourself to everybody in the shelter. Because just because your situation is like that, your situation could be completely different to somebody else. Pack light because while you're in the intake, you're going to be in the intake forever. Like for hours, because of the simple fact of you have to wait till like somebody doesn't like basically comes in on time for bed check-in and stuff like that. Because I guess the shelter curfew is 11 p.m. It was 10 p.m. but they did rise it up an hour. So yeah, curfew for the shelter is 11 p.m. I didn't wait till all the way 11 p.m. which was a little weird. So the latest I got there at 11 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't get to bed till like damn near like 5, 6 o'clock at night. So on these shelters and stuff, some of them don't be having elevators, so you gotta be having a lunch and stuff up them stairs. So I wish somebody would have told me that because I had 2 suitcases and a duffel bag, okay? So yeah. The next tip is that, yeah, within the 5 boroughs of New York, and make sure you have your paperwork, like your ID, your birth certificate, your social, and pay stubs if they want to see that. I don't think your intake wants to see that as of yet. Your permanent shelter would want to see that. The shelter that I did go to was the one in the Bronx, which was Franklin. I'll put that on a screen, like the address and stuff like that. You can go to, that was located in the Bronx, but you can honestly look on Google and put shelter intake, and whatever borough you're in, you can go to that borough within the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, I don't know if it's Staten Island, and Manhattan. The third tip is you're in your intake, all right, you're all settled in. You're supposedly evaluated for 23 days. I don't know why it takes that long. If somebody so happily to work for DHS, but will so happily watch this video, please comment down below, like, why is the intake evaluation is for 23 days? Reasoning, because like, child, 23 days, that's practically a month. What are y'all evaluating? But I wasn't even evaluated for 23 days. I was literally in my shelter intake for literally 24 hours. Like how everything I played it out, like I literally came into the shelter calm down. I left the shelter July. Hold on. September 25th. And that was a Sunday. So I was literally in my shelter intake literally for 24 hours and they transferred me out Monday night. So I was like, dad, because even when they told me that, I was like, girl, I gotta be in this intake for 23 days for what? Like, what? That's entirely ghetto, okay? Why I gotta be here for this long? Like, what? If you are in this phase of like during the evaluation part, like in your intake, I would suggest for you to apply to HRA, like your cash assistance, your food stamps, etc. That can take up to 45 days just for your case to be open and active and, you know, get that going. That 45 days is very much a long time. That's practically, what, 2 months? No, a month and a half, maybe. So during when you're in this evaluation time, hopefully by the end of your evaluation, your HRA case could be like open and active. Because like I said, the HRA case takes 45 days to even get open. Told by this one of the social workers at my permanent shelter, because I was just like, bro, when I was at my permanent shelter, I had an open cash assistance case, but they only gave me like emergencies like one time, and then that was it, and then my case got closed prior to me coming into the shelter. So I had to reopen a whole nother freaking cash assistance case when I was in the shelter, and then I had to wait the 45 days. And I'm like, bro, why are we waiting 45 days to get an open cash assistance, food stamps, etc. case to be open? Basically a public assistance case to be open, which was ridiculous because 45 days is crazy, but I know how the city work. The city, they just be backed up and it just be ridiculous at this point. This is also not to like, you know, brag or anything, but I just want to share this video with somebody that, because I only shared this on TikTok and I didn't even think to do a YouTube video on it. I also wanted to like mention that even though you're in the shelter, please don't like take this as like a negative thing, because the whole ideal is to move out and get your apartment, and this is going to be a step for like your future. That's the best like, you know, advice I can give for you, and that's basically the whole mindset I went in, like going in there, like, you know, even though, don't look at a shelter as a bad thing. Use the shelter thing as a tool, and as well as the voucher. Please use these two things as a tool, and don't think the shelter is like a bad thing. Yeah, of course it has its pros and its cons, mainly cons, because like, you know who you running into. Like, the shelter is not filled with crazy people, but you don't know who you're really running into. Better yet, you don't even know who you're rooming with for real. You get what I mean? So please don't take this as like a negative thing. If you go in there with the mindset of, listen, I'm here to get my ish done, and you know what I'm saying? I'm on my ish, and you get everything that everybody needs. Make sure you have all your paperwork. Make sure you meet with your caseworker. I mentioned that in my TikTok video as well. Make sure you meet with your caseworker as well as your housing specialist, and please give them any and everything that they need, okay? That's if they're on their ish. Now, for the ones that don't be on their ish, like the caseworkers, because you is going to get a caseworker, like that's going to be assigned to you, like they're gonna want to know like why you've been in the shelter. Like, I am gonna mention that. Y'all, this is Editing Kia. I actually forgot to mention something. You're actually gonna get a caseworker assigned to you that's gonna be, you know, that you meet with them in your permanent shelter. So when you're in your permanent shelter, you're gonna have a caseworker that you meet. I believe every 2 weeks. They call that an ILP kind of meeting to see how you're doing, if you've been looking for apartments, how much you get paid. They want to see your pay stub. Continue with the video. Basically, you know, they're going to want to know, like, why are you in the shelter? Like, how did you get in there? Basically, like, you know, during your intake, they're going to ask you all of these questions. And as well as I'm about to mention another tip that I also was told to me. Depending on how your situation is, they are going to try to get you, because they're going to ask you questions like, you know, where was you at before you came into the shelter, and why, and what happened, and who you was staying with. They're going to basically trying to talk you into going back there to where you left from, right? You don't want to be there anymore, right? We already made up our mind that we don't want to be in that predicament. Friend, family, whoever you were staying with. We already made up our mind that we don't want to be there, right? So they're going to try to get you to go back there and pay them So basically the city is going to pay whoever you're staying with for you being there. Basically, they're going to be paying them for you to be sleeping on somebody's couch. Basically. And you don't want that, right? So the whole ideal is not to do that, okay? Oh, and make sure everything is clean, far as like you not having anything, because I had somebody hit me up saying that their name was like on a lease and they couldn't get like found eligible because their name was on somebody else's, like her mother's lease. So that was a little weird, but just make sure your name isn't tied down to no lease or anything. Make sure like everything's like legit, because they probably doing some information, like contact people to be sure like if you're actually homeless. You gotta make it believable that you're actually homeless, okay? So if you see me looking off to the side, I'm looking at my phone. So during this time, you're gonna be meeting with like a caseworker. This is not your permanent caseworker. This is gonna be your temporary caseworker until you get placed into your permanent shelter. If that makes sense, I'm hoping I'm making sense to y'all. Please let me know in the comments. I know it seemed a little confusing, but if you just stay with me, you won't get confused. So during your intake, your temporarily caseworker is gonna be asking you like, you know, where do you want to be placed at? Where do you prefer, you know, throughout the 5 boroughs? For some reason, I think I mentioned Manhattan. I got placed in Queens. So listen, I feel like whatever's open at the time, that's where they're gonna place you. I had like so many questions because I posted my TikTok. I don't know if you guys are following me on TikTok. Make sure you guys follow me. I'll put it up right here on the top of the screen as well. I posted my shelter room tour and that went stupid. I think it's almost at 100K right now. And I've been literally having anybody ask. I did share a room with 2 females, but during my intake, when I was in my intake, I was in a room. It's like dormitorial, basically. You're gonna be in a room with about 10 to 15 girls, okay? I'm gonna be so 100 with you, all right? And I know it might seem crazy, like, what? I'm gonna share a room with girls and you're gonna have to share a bathroom too, okay? Hey y'all, it's Editing Kia again. And I also forgot to mention that just because I was in a shelter with 2 girls does not mean that you're gonna be placed in a shelter with 2 girls. The shelter that you may be placed in a shelter with 2 girls, thankfully, like you may get placed at the shelter I was at, because that one was in Queens. But most of the shelters, they are dormitorial, okay? And I also forgot to mention as well that they do give you a lock, so you can be able to lock your stuff up. Like your stuff is just not going to be out in the open. I would suggest if you are coming in and leaving out from work and stuff, make sure you lock your things up. You don't want nobody touching your stuff. Make sure you lock your stuff up. But they do give you a lock where you can put your things. That's why I also told you to pack light, so you can fit everything in the locker and make sure everything is intact and put in your locker when you come in and leave out as well, if you don't want nobody touching your stuff. Also forgot to mention that I was just trying to jam pack everything, and I was not like I didn't write everything in order, but yes, you guys, they do give you a lock where you can lock your stuff up. But most of these shelters, they are dormitorial. So just have an open mind with coming into the shelter, okay? Because I don't want everybody thinking like, you know, you can go into the shelter and be in a room with 2 girls and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. You know, it's going to be dormitorial and you're going to have to be sharing the bathroom. And yeah, crazy people, but just keep an open mind that you are going to be in an open area with multiple females. Just keep that in mind, okay? I don't want you guys to be, you know, thinking you're going to get your own room. You know, it's some shelters that's like that, but just keep an open mind of that, okay? So please be prepared for that. So make sure, that's why I said, make sure this is a decision that you want to do, as well as you got to mentally prepare for this, because this is what you're going to be walking into. Not to say like you're going to be walking into like a crazy shelter, but some of these shelters, they're dormitorial, like, you know what I mean? So I'm so thankful and blessed that I even got placed at the shelter that I was at, because that shelter wasn't all that bad. It did have some pros and cons. That place was okay. I got a story time coming real soon about that place, but don't get me wrong, it was a good place, and I was honestly grateful and blessed to even be placed there, because I was in a room with 2 females. I feel like I can deal with 2 females, but 15 is crazy. Like what? But listen, you gotta do what you gotta do. So whatever you tell him or her, whatever, I feel like whatever's open, they'll place you. Because listen, I told her Manhattan, she placed me in Queens. So it was like, all right. So yeah, you're gonna meet with them, and you know, they're gonna ask you all the questions that I mentioned before about, you know, like, you know, where you wanna be at, and you know, who was you staying with, etc., etc. Just make sure everything is clean on your end to make it seem believable as you're homeless. That's the whole idea, because we wanna get the apartment, right? Yes. The next step is when you are in your permanent shelter. I did mention this before, meet with your caseworker, your housing specialist, and give them everything that they need. Probably 9 times out of 10, when you get into your permanent shelter, you probably is gonna meet with your caseworker and your housing specialist probably the following day, because that's what happened to me. That week of you getting there, because they wanna, you know, basically it's gonna be the same rodeo again. You know what I mean? So at least like the mayor didn't, you don't have to do the 90 days anymore. So who knows your situation? Like I said, you can't, that's why I said in the beginning, you can't compare yourself to everybody in the shelter, because just because that person went through it doesn't mean you're gonna go through the same thing. You know what I mean? So just because they've been in the shelter for X amount of time that they've been there, who knows? You might be in the shelter for 2-3 months. Who knows? Not to say that that's going to be a guarantee for you, but I'm just saying, like, you just never know. Because when I was in the shelter where I was at, there was a girl I heard that was there for 2 weeks, got a crib and bounced. I was like, girl, what? Literally in the shelter for 2 weeks, got her apartment and bounced. Like, you got to be on your game and make sure you give any and everything that they need. And I feel like if they not on their game and they not doing what they supposed to do, either ask for another caseworker or call 311. Those are the only 2 options I can give you, okay? And I'm being so 100 with you, okay? Because we don't want no lazy caseworker, and we don't need no caseworker that ain't doing their damn job. Okay? Use that 311 to advantage, because I'm like, girl, why everybody was using 311? Baby, listen. You call 311 on them, they'll get their act right, okay? Or either by that point, get another caseworker if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, period. Because the caseworker got a boss. So they not doing what they supposed to do, talk to the boss, talk to your caseworker's boss. And if that boss ain't doing what they supposed to do, talk to the caseworker's boss. Okay, stop playing. Not the 1, nor the 2, not the 3. Okay, baby, the whole idea is for us to get our apartment. And don't play when it comes down to us getting our apartment. All right? So yeah, and not to say like, things won't be going as fast. You just never know. I don't want to tell you like this is going to happen overnight, because everything do take time. Clearly, having your public assistant case do take 45 days. Then you got to be evaluated for 23 days. So everything do take time, y'all. So please give it some time, okay? And then the next one is after when we're to the point where public assistant case is now open, right? And everything is clear. You've been giving your caseworker pay stubs, everything. You ain't got to do the 90 days, so the 90 days thing wasn't really essential. The only reason is you got to do the 90, basically before, you had to be in the shelter for 90 days to find eligible for the voucher, right? So, and this is another thing that I also was mentioning in my TikTok videos as well. So when you get to the point where your public assistance case is active, and you can start looking for apartments, I believe this is the step where you get to apply for the certain vouchers. So there is 2 vouchers. There is a City Fest voucher and there is a soda program voucher. So I'm only telling the information that was told to me, because on TikTok, I was getting told so many different things. So, so I'm gonna tell you the steps that was taught to me of how to get in these vouchers, getting the 2 vouchers, and knowing about, you know, knowing the information for the City Fest voucher and the soda program voucher. So, like I said, there's 2 vouchers, the City Fest voucher and the soda program voucher. So the City Fest voucher, right, is good for 5 years. Okay, City Fest voucher is good for 5 years. I believe you recertify every year, or you renew it every year. I'm not too sure, because there was some whole shebang like that on the news. Anyway, and yeah, that's good for 5 years. So when you're qualifying for this voucher, you gotta meet certain requirements. Yes, I feel like nobody told me this in the beginning. I feel like if anybody was telling me this way during the 90 days phase, I feel like we wouldn't have this issue. That's why I'm filling you guys in, so you guys can know and be a step ahead of yourself and a step ahead of these people, so you can know, you know what I'm saying? So you can know the certain information. So just know, all right, whatever job you're working, whatever having some type of income, what it was told to me, basically you don't have to be working to have a City Fest voucher, but I was told that you need to be working, so we're gonna have that shebang going on. So you gotta either have to be working or have some type of income, some out of the two, okay? You can't have no income and have to try to apply for a voucher that you need to put your portion in for, if you get what I mean. So the City Fest voucher is only 70% of the rent. So whatever your rent is, they cover 70% of that. Okay, that's why I said it's either you need to be working or have some type of income. Because why? Because you're going to be covering the 30%. 70 plus 30 is what? 100, right? So that's why I said you got to have a job or some type of income coming in. And don't worry, y'all, because on that part, you also need to state on your HRA case or your cash assistance case, whatever type of income that you're getting, you have to put that on your application and prove that you're getting that type of, you know what I'm saying? That you're getting that type of money and where it's coming from. Because trust and believe, they want to know everything. Okay? It's like Housing Connect. All right? Because Housing Connect is a whole nother shebang. I got to do a whole series about that too. So, yeah, they like Housing Connect. So they're going to want to know any and everything and where you get that money from, how you get that money from, basically. That's the City Fest voucher. And then, not to mention, as well as the hours that you're working for work, right? So this is for my working people. So for my working people, in order to meet the requirements for the voucher, you need to make $22.65 a month, as well as to get 30 hours. So nothing over. So if you're pushing 40, 45 hours, basically they're gonna tell you like, you can't get this voucher because you're making too much, okay? And then they're gonna push you to get in the soda program, the soda voucher, which is a soda voucher. They pay your rent in full for 1 year. Yes. Let me say that again. The soda program is only good for 1 year and they pay your rent for that 1 year. Okay, keep that in mind. I just thought, you know, I ain't feel comfortable with that. I ain't gonna do that. So prior to me coming in there, I was working 40 hours. So in the midst of me doing that, I had to lower my hours because I didn't feel comfortable with going with the soda program, having them pay my rent for a year. And then basically, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be put back in the same predicament a year later because I can't pay the rent. Like, baby, if I don't know if y'all know where I work at Shake Shack. So, baby, we not pushing no 2,100 on no rent by myself. No. If a push comes to shove, basically, if you're pushing 40, 50 hours, you gotta lower it down to get it to those 30 hours, so you can be able to qualify for the voucher. I got so thirsty. Okay, so telling you now, all right? Lower your hours just until you get when they provide the pay stubs, because they're gonna calculate all of that. Then not to even mention, I forgot to mention as well, they go based off your gross, okay? They don't go by your take home. They don't go by your take home, which makes me so mad because I didn't even get that either when I was in the shelter. I was like, bro, why are they going based off of the gross? Baby, I'm not even taking that home. That's not even a take home. Baby, I'm getting paid $800 from my job every week, right? They taking $2 something out of my check, baby. I ain't even getting $800 a week or 2 weeks or a month. I'm not even taking that. Like, so if somebody from DHS or anything like that, or like the city so happily to be watching my video, listen, why do y'all look please let me know, because I was asking the question in shelter and nobody knew. So if I have somebody working for the city so happily watching this video, please comment down below why do they look at the gross, which I don't know. We're not taking that home. It's not like we're taking that entire $800 home. Like, I could get like that was the take home. You get what I mean? But like, it's so annoying. But anyway, when your PA's case is open, we're gonna get into the next and last step here, where you can, when your case is active, you've been supplying pay stubs, all right? You've been given everything that they need, all right? Now you're at the final step of looking for an apartment, because I've been getting a lot of questions of where have I been looking for apartments, drop information about realtors, have the shelter been helping me? Honestly, baby, like I said in the beginning, please use the shelter as a tool. They half-ass, I'm sorry for cursing, but I feel like they half-ass most of the time. Like I said, you gotta, I mentioned this in my TikTok as well, you gotta do the footwork. You can't depend on these people to look for apartments for you. Like, no. They're here to help you, yeah, but as far as looking for apartments, nah. I feel like when I was looking for apartments, my housing specialist, she gave me 5 apartments to look at. I didn't even get a response from neither one of them, okay? Didn't get no I didn't get no callback from no realtor, no anything, nothing. I looked at, if you guys haven't seen my other apartment touring video, I'll put that up right here, as well as I'll put it in the iCards. If you guys want to go check that out, the 5 apartments I toured. Total, I believe I've seen about like 5 apartments on my own and found the dream apartment, which I will be dropping the house tour very soon. It'll probably be after this video, honestly, but I really wanted to get this video out of the way first, because, yeah. I was saying, don't depend on them, and the reason why I say they be half-assed is because they'll give you something for that first day, and then that's it. They won't give you nothing. So that's why I say you got to do your footwork. You got to look. You got to look for the apartments, and you got to go tour these apartments and go look at them, go view them. Do all of that. Any free time that you have on your hands, make sure you guys go and do that. Go tour these apartments. And you can go apply and look. All right, first of all, you can go look on Street Easy, Zillow Rentals, Trivia, and Apartments.com. Those are the apps that I was looking at. When I was looking at those apartments on that app is because I feel though is like you can send them a message seeing if they accept vouchers. I know it's discrimination and stuff like that. Like they supposed to accept the vouchers, but we got slum landlords in New York, so some of them don't want to be taking vouchers. So I was just like, you know, I like to send them a little message to be sure if they accept vouchers. If they do, that's good. Continue to go view the apartment and apply for it, etc. And as well as you can apply on Housing Connect. Now, I would suggest for the people that's in the shelter, please take this to advantage, because I told a lot of females and people while I was in the shelter to apply to, because a housing specialist that was at my shelter told me to do this. So if you are in the shelter, make sure when you're applying on Housing Connect, update all your documents, like your residency letter, your pay stubs, your ID, your social, your W-2. Like I said, they're going to want to see every daggone thing. At this point, take blood from me, okay? So make sure you guys update your documents and apply to all of the buildings on Housing Connect. Because the reason why, if you're new coming in and you never applied on Housing Connect before, the system to get familiar with your name, right? So keep applying to all of the lotteries, even though you don't qualify for them. That just because a building needs to be making $100,000 doesn't matter. Make sure you just apply to all of those buildings. So you can basically apply to all of these buildings and it'll be fine, like literally, because they accept vouchers. Just because one building don't accept you, another building will. Because that's literally what happened to me. I'm literally across the street from a building that rejected me and another building had picked me. So just don't get discriminated because you're on Housing Connect and you're applying to some of these buildings and some of these buildings don't choose you. It's fine. Keep applying to all of these buildings. It doesn't matter. Like I said, just because one building didn't accept you, another one will. So keep applying to all of the buildings on Housing Connect. A building will pick you, okay? The earlier you apply, the better the chance. So if I was you, as well as apply frequently throughout the week, like check every week to be sure so you can know when like new lotteries come up and everything. So make sure you do that, all right? But yeah, y'all, I think that's all of the tips that I have for the shelter journey and the shelter process step by step. I hope this helped you. Please let me know in the comment section down below, like, have you been in a shelter? How was your shelter journey? Let me know in the comments. Or if you don't feel comfortable with commenting your journey, you can always DM me on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I'm open to any like commentary and stuff like that. So yeah, y'all, make sure you guys comment that down below. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that notification bell because we are back and we better, y'all. I am now in my new apartment. Once I get the moving blog out of the way, I feel like it's gonna be a lot easier. I just gotta find the time to really do it because on my downtime, when I'm off from work, I'll just be sleeping and chillaxing. So yes, y'all, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this helped you. Let me know in the comments if this did help you in the comment section down below. But yes, y'all, I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, guys.